Hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to another episode of the EKN OutLap. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean. It is June 24th, 2024, as we are getting into episode 74 of our preview podcast. Again, our podcast for previewing the upcoming event that we'll be trackside at, looking at the race, the teams, the drivers, and the point standings of that particular program and series that we'll be covering, which this weekend will be the 2024 United States Pro Kart Series Wisconsin Grand Prix from the Millwright Raceway in Dousman, Wisconsin. This show is presented by Margay Racing. Check out Margay Racing's Spec Ignite class and their Arrive and Drive packages. Nothing matches the affordability and competitive level of the Ignite program. It's where the best driver wins over the best equipment. Bring your safety gear and Margay will take care of the rest. This year's Ignite Majors includes the Quincy Grand Prix, USAC Karting Elkhart Riverwalk Grand Prix, and the Rock Island Grand Prix on Labor Day weekend. The Midwest-based Ignite Challenge Series will hit 6 different tracks in 2024, and be sure to find a club running the Ignite class in your part of the country this season. For more information, please visit ignitekarting.com today. Get off the couch and into a race seat. Nate, the United States Pro Kart Series Wisconsin Grand Prix going to be happening June 28th through the 30th, our final weekend of the month of June. It's come by quick, and it's going by really quick as we get ready for the third round of this year's USPKS program.
Yeah, once you get into the start of the summer months or kind of midway through them, it really does start to ramp up with a lot of national, regional, and local level racing series really get into the heat of things. And of course, into round 3 for USPKS, heading back to Millwright Raceway in Dousman, Wisconsin. Really looking forward to that one as we continue into what is a very, very busy couple of summer months for us.
It certainly is, and this is the 12th season of the United States Pro Kart Series, which began back in 2013. And ironically, Nate, this is the first time the series has returned to this facility since that inaugural season back in 2013, which was then, I think it was just Briggs and Stratton Raceway, possibly back then. I know it did Wolf Paving Raceway at one time. Now it's Millwright Raceway, but really it's the home of the Badger Kart Club. Still one of the only few facilities that is owned by the organization, run by the organization, made up of a lot of volunteers, made up of a lot of dedicated people to the sport. And this facility dates back to the 1960s when it was known as Utica Raceway. And is probably next to, TNT and Whiteland and some other racetracks, probably one of the oldest facilities we do have in the United States.
Yeah, definitely gone by a few names over the years and has tripped me up anytime they change it. But Millwright Raceway, as of now, like you said, with it still being club owned and a lot of volunteers, it has an amazing atmosphere, at least for the times that I've been there with Route 66 and other series. I'm looking forward to adding USPKS to that list as well. Like you said, since 2013 was the last time they went here, a lot has changed in the sport. If you're looking on USPKS social a couple weeks ago, they shared some photos of their last event there, and it'll be fun to see some back-to-back comparisons between the two. Obviously with the repave and a lot of track renovations since then. Great to see from Badger. But I think a lot of the USPKS paddock, and us included, are really excited to head back there.
Yeah, they had that extension in 2017. So that was 4 years after USPKS was there for the first time. So the series hasn't seen that, but also the entire racetrack was repaved at the end of 2022. So we're basically going on a year and a half old pavement this weekend. So a different characteristic racetrack. I think the one thing that's really different about this 7/8 mile, 15 turn layout, it's flat. There is no banking, no elevation whatsoever. You can stand in one spot at the facility and see the entire racetrack itself. There's going to be no obstruction for views. Everybody will be able to see the entire racetrack from wherever you stand along the fence line. It's certainly a unique racetrack, but again, looking back, it's aside from the extension added in 2017, it's still the original design from back in the 1960s. So something unique, where now today a lot of racetracks are a lot longer, have a lot more elevation change and banking corners, etc., where this racetrack's very flat. Something that a lot of the competitors that will be going, aside from those who were at the Millwright shootout last weekend, but those making their first ever visit to Dousman, Wisconsin, will certainly have to come to grips with how flat the racetrack really is.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers still getting used to, at least local drivers still getting used to new pavement there. With it before, it was a typical, like, really used, had some patches, but it still had a lot of character to the racing surface. Now, with Cup Karts North America and Red 66 having a race under their belts on this new surface, it's a bit slippery. It's almost like Road America the first few years when they repaved that, maybe not to the extent of driving on ice. It seemed like the first year or two that series went there, but it's definitely going to be a new challenge for a lot of these drivers. Some comparing it a little bit to MCC, the way that the asphalt works with it, and it's a bit of a mix between MCC and Road America. So a lot of other storylines going into this weekend.
So to wrap up our thoughts on the facility itself, again, home of the Badger Kart Club. This is the 7th time the United States Pro Kart Series has been in the state of Wisconsin. Again, 2013, 2015, and 2016 in Shawano, Wisconsin. 2020, 2021, and 2022 at Road America. And you just talked about it, how that surface is certainly tricky. And what will be tricky is the weather coming into this weekend. As of today, looking at the forecast, we see rain on Friday, a chance of rain on Saturday, but clear on Sunday with the temperatures in the 70s. So we went through a very hot period here up in the Northern Hemisphere, in the northern section of the United States. And we just had a weather system come through over the last couple of days. I believe it hit the Millwright shootout last weekend on Saturday night and Sunday morning. But now cooler temperatures are coming in through the area. So it should be a comfortable weekend. And hopefully we'll be able to keep away the wet weather once things get official on Friday. Nate, let's kind of go over the event schedule for the weekend.
Yeah, so Thursday you will have optional practice. Moving into Friday, 4 rounds of practice for all classes, and then finishing the day up with qualifying. Come Saturday, it will be warm-up, Heat 1, Heat 2, and Heat 3. That is 12 laps for all classes. And then wrapping the weekend up on Sunday, you'll have warm-up, B-mains, which will be 15 laps for the classes that have those. And then the finals, which will be 24 for the pro class. That'll be X30, 22 for the rest of the classes apart from cadets, which will be running at 20. So that'll be mini and micro running 20 lap finals.
Yeah, and we'll get into by the numbers after the commercial break and talk about, the possibility of not even having B mains this year or this weekend, with numbers a little bit down from where we were in speed sports and track house. So after these commercials, we'll get into by the numbers and kind of look at where we will be over the weekend at the Wisconsin Grand Prix.
Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlison Performance Group. We race to win. It all started in 1994, when former successful kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Fast forward 20 years, and Parolin's passion for the sport led to the company rejoining international competitions as a factory team in WSK and CIK FIA races, with the aim of enhancing the research and development process, immediately achieving notable results around Europe, North America, and Asia, becoming the CIK FIA Asia Pacific KZ champion in the same year. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all of the major Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior classes, and the 28mm mini kart for the cadet classes. Parolin has been winning races all over the world, and it's on top of the podium in the USA as well, with drivers like Kai Sorensen, Mateus Orjuela, and Alessandro De Tullio. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com.
And welcome back to EKN OutLap, our preview podcast of the upcoming United States Pro Kart Series, Wisconsin Grand Prix. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean. We are into episode 74 here on June 24th, 2024, getting into this show presented by Margay Racing. We are now into our By the Number segment. Again, looking at the 7 categories offered on the weekend. And Nate, the noticeable thing is the total number of entries is below the 200 mark. We're sitting right now at 184, with what I'm going to say is probably going to see about at least 20 walk-ups. So we should hit the 200 mark, but certainly the month of June, it's been a busy 6 months of the opening season. That's got to account for kind of the drop in terms of numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously with it being so busy and then going to Wisconsin, which for a lot of Southern-based drivers that make up a lot of the entries for most national series, not wanting to make the ride or plane ride, whatever, all the way up to Wisconsin, which is a little disappointing. But yeah, like you said, with most likely going to have 20 or so walk-ups, and with a lot of people being busy over the weekend with Cup Karts and their Summer Nationals or the Millwright Shootout, a lot of teams and drivers go on a race-to-race schedule of how they do sign up for these races. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of days to see a big old spike on that, and then add some walk-ups at the track as well.
Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of racing that's been happening over the last couple of weeks. So I think racers are kind of going weekend to weekend and not really putting in that entry early, trying to make sure everything works out. And again, we're now into the third round of a 5-round championship where, maybe people are looking at it too as I'm out of the championship, why go? So that's another factor into this. I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of a reduced numbers in KA Junior and KA Senior, which are sitting at 43 and 37 respectively. So those are the categories where they're going to allow 47 directly into the main event, and then top 3 from the B main. So for a total of 50. So we might not even see B mains come Sunday morning for KA Junior and KA Senior, which I guess that'll help with the schedule, even though it's a quicker schedule on Sunday, but it puts everybody in. I think that's the main part about it. Nobody will have to run a B main. So we'll see if we do end up with essentially, 10 or more entries for KA Junior over the next couple of days. And when we get Trackside on Thursday and Friday. Aside from that, the other big dip that we do see is in the X30 Pro category, which is now sitting only at 11 drivers, down obviously from 25, our season high at Trackhouse, but down 20 from 21 at Speed Sports. So Nate, this is probably a lot to do with scheduling. We saw a number of high profile drivers at the Race Road Tax US Trophy East event at MCC, just coming off the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals at MCC. So I do know of a couple walk-ups, so we might hit the 15 mark, but it's certainly one of the lowest numbers we've seen in this category over the 12-year history.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see this category kind of struggle for numbers like this, but as we'll talk about in the next segment, when we talk about X30 Pro, there's still a lot of talent in there, including some new faces, which again, we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I think you nailed it on the head there with obviously Rotax Trophy East, just having their race just last weekend. Same with the SCUSA Pro Tour a couple weekends ago, both at MCC. Maybe people are a bit Midwested out from those two races. But yeah, a little bit down, but like we'll talk about in a little bit, still have plenty of talent in the pool there.
Yeah, so, but speaking of talent, we got X30 Junior bumped back up to 19, which is what we saw at Speed Sports, even though I think we had kind of the outlier of 32 drivers at the Trackhouse event. So that's kind of there. 32 and 32 for mini and micro, so pretty solid numbers still across those two categories. Not falling very far off. In fact, micro is the same as what it was at Trackhouse. So it's good to see that. We do get a little bit of a bump in K100 Masters from Trackhouse, going from 8 to 11. We got a number of local drivers making their return to the category, even though we're losing some drivers from that division as well too. So again, all in all, still solid number. We're going to hit the 200 mark. I have that feeling once we get Trackside and get going. We do. Certainly, there's some drivers who are either taking a break. There's some drivers who were injured last weekend or 2 weekends ago. Again, a lot of different factors that go into this. Nate, I said this earlier to somebody before. I wonder if it kind of goes, if you can kind of relate with this, because you live in Minnesota. It almost feels like Wisconsin and Minnesota are almost deemed to be Canadian. Like, it just, people struggle to have the idea of going up into those states. Even Michigan too, as well. We don't see a lot of national racing coming up into the state of Michigan. It almost feels like once you get north of Chicago, you're kind of going into a different country, and you need a passport to get there.
It's something I feel quite strongly about, because I always feel like, especially the Minnesotans and the Midwest, the northern Midwest contingent, always show up so strong to all of these races, especially like TSRS or SCUSA Winter Series or a lot of the southern races, and then we get to the northern stuff and entries start to drop off a little bit. So it's a little annoying for us that always make the trip down to those races. But I definitely agree with you. We get so northern, it's hard for people to comprehend the way up there, especially touching back with what we said. It's been a busy season. We're into the summer months. Maybe people just want a break. Maybe people are out of the championship. But again, it's unfortunate that we're having the drop in numbers, but at least the one thing you can probably take away from it is at least it's consistent across most series.
Well, yeah. And, the great thing is, especially, going to Road America and again, now going to Badger, there's no better place to vacation than in the northern part of the country. We have some of the best, Michigan, we have the Great Lakes, you guys have it over, Wisconsin has it over there. You are the land of the lakes we got
10,000 of those.
10,000. Yeah, exactly. So, there's a lot of different factors, but it does feel like, at least in karting, like it seems like those states are kind of considered Canada. But we'll see. Again, I think I've heard feedback from a lot of the racers who were at Badger last weekend for the shootout and had never been there before, and really, are praising the facility. So I think, again, kind of like Road America, they went there not knowing really what it was going to be like, and were amazed by it and loved going back. I think they'll think the same thing with Badger, and it'll be interesting to see again how the racing unfolds as well too on the weekend. So with that, let's head into our next commercial break, and when we return, we'll get into our class by class preview, and we'll start with X30 Pro and K100 Senior.
What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is Sodi Kart. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to the new exclusive importer, the Karting Distribution, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Sodi Kart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers product in classes from mini karts to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has expanded its dealer network over the last year, bringing the Sodi brand to several local clubs and regional programs. The Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports is the official race team, producing many victories in different levels across the board. And the new Pro Race Academy is designed to cater to the next generation of motor racing, helping boys and girls aiming to make their mark. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about Sodi Kart chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodi Kart, the world leader in the karting industry.
Are you ready to go from karts to cars? Since 1975, the Skip Barber Racing School has taken great drivers and made them champions. Today, we're proud to welcome the next generation of winners. Make the transition from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Formula Race Series. You'll compete at the most iconic tracks in America. Race weekends include your very own equalized Formula 4 race car, a professional crew, expert instruction, video and data analysis, hospitality, and more. This is the place to fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. Sign up today by calling 866-932-1949 or visit us at skipbarber.com.
And welcome back from our commercial break as we are continuing our EKN OutLap, episode 74 on June 24th, 2024. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean as we are previewing the United States Pro Kart Series Wisconsin Grand Prix. And this show is presented by Margay Racing. We are now getting into our class-by-class previews, and we will start with the X30 Pro Division presented by Rawlison Performance Group. Nate, we talked about it by the numbers, only 11 drivers, but we do know of a few, at least one. I know of at least one walk-up that we'll have. That is Alessandro Di Tullio, one of the championship contenders. He's not on the entry list, so we'll have at least 12 competitors there. But among those drivers that will be there are all in the top 5 of the championship now. We have Austin Garrison, who will be there. He's the championship leader ahead of Paulie Massimino by 125 points. Alessandro Di Tullio sitting in 3rd. Brandon Carr 4th. And Ryan Norberg, our defending 3-time champion, sitting there in 5th, 279 points back. So all top 5 drivers in the championship chase going to be in Wisconsin. And those are kind of going to be the headline drivers coming into the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, looking back at the Millwright shootout from last weekend, obviously Ryan Norberg winning that in probably one was the most unsurprising podium we've had this year, with Ryan Norberg on top and then 2 Wisconsin natives finishing out 2nd and 3rd, with Brandon Lemke 2nd, Nicholas Trelecki in 3rd for that warm-up race for the weekend. So, those 2 will be quick. And then, like you said, with the rest of the top 5 making appearances as well, Brennan Carr, who's looking for a win that he hasn't had since the Winter Series in Homestead. You have to think if he does well on tracks like MCC, especially where he comes from, England, where a lot of the tracks are a bit more tighter and more technical than what we have here in the U.S., maybe he'll find that he goes quite well here at Dousman.
Yeah, flat racetrack. That's something, again, probably not a lot of elevation changes in the tracks in the UK. I think he's going to adapt to this racetrack really well. You did say Trelecki's from Wisconsin. He's actually from Illinois, but called Dousman his home racetrack for a number of years. But yeah, that's the thing. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers from the Midwest that'll be in the field. So again, they know this racetrack very well. And, Brandon Lemke, he's been competitive all season long in this division, just not in the top 5 in the championship. He's going to be one of the favorites. Obviously, with Norberg picking up the shootout victory, he's going to be a favorite as well, along with Trelecki, who finished 3rd to those 2 drivers. So it'll be interesting to see what Garrison can do. He's been consistently fast all season long. I think he's just got to maintain that kind of pace, not make any daring moves, and kind of maintain it throughout the weekend to come out and still be the championship leader. Where Paulie Massimino, he's going to have to make some moves. He's going to have to try get essentially on the podium on the weekend in order to put himself in the championship chase, and also trying to beat Garrison every session they're on the racetrack as well too. So that'll be interesting to see. We do have some drivers making their X30 Pro debuts, including Eli Warren, the Kentucky driver, moving up. The privateer going to be racing a one-off in the X30 division this weekend, just kind of going to have fun, figure it out, see where they stack up. And Alex Feldstein making his move up into the X30 Pro division from KA Senior, the Hots driver, development driver, another Wisconsin driver from Madison. So he knows this racetrack very well. So it'll be interesting to see where he throws in the mix with a lot of these championship contenders as well too. So should be an interesting one, even though we only have 11, now 12 drivers, with DeTulio confirming that he'll be there this weekend, not on the entry list. It should be a pretty interesting weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back on what you said about two drivers making their debut, Alex Feldstein, who's kind of been the dark horse in K100 Senior this year, will be very, very fun to see how he does at a track he goes very, very well at. Was on the podium at Route 66 last season when they made their stop at Millwright Raceway. And then Eli Warren, who has had race winning potential in K100 Senior. So it'll be interesting to see him make the move up into the X30 division.
And so with that, let's head into our KA100 Senior presented by Brandon Jarzakrak Racing. We will have 37 drivers on the entry list as of today, coming in with two different winners on the season. Alan Isambard with his Driver of the Month performance at Speed Sports, and then Paulie Massimino defending his home turf at Trackhouse Motorplex to become the round 2 winner. We do have Isambard on the entry list. No Paulie Massimino. He's going to focus on the X30 Pro division. So he will not be there. But Isambard will be there, trying to become the first repeat winner on the season. He comes into the championship 4th in the standings, 139 points back of championship leader Cooper Shipman. The Texan driver has been pretty consistent throughout the year, securing top 5 finishes across the board. Jesus Vasquez Jr. sitting there in 2nd, 50 points out of the championship lead, with Christian Miles sitting there in the 3rd spot, 78 points back. I did confirm no Christian Miles on the entry list, but he will be racing KA Senior this weekend. So good to see him in the championship hunt, coming back with Race Lab and TB Kart this weekend. As I said, Isambard sitting 4th with AJ Myers, a shifter kart driver, coming off a pretty solid weekend at MCC, coming in as the 5th place driver in the championship for K100 Senior. So we got 2 shifter kart drivers sitting in the top 5 in K100 Senior coming in the weekend. I didn't think we would see that, Nate, when the season began earlier in April.
Yeah, obviously with the cancellation of that class, didn't see those guys in the championship hunt for K100 Senior, but obviously Isambard with a great win in Speed Sports, and then AJ Myers has been fairly consistent in his K100 Senior campaign. We could see one of those guys taking the championship trophy, but not the one we were expecting at the start of the year.
Yeah, and I messaged Billy Musgrave earlier today. He was at the shootout. So the 4-time Super Nationals winner in the pro shifter category was in Wisconsin this past weekend. So I was waiting to see if he was going to be competing in the USBKS weekend this weekend. I haven't heard back yet. So we could have another shifter kart driver in the field this weekend. So we'll wait and see on that. We'll confirm that once we get trackside on Thursday or Friday. But Nate, overall, 37 drivers in this field. Again, this is one of the more stacked categories that we've had across the board, across the season. We got Supercarts USA Pro Tour Championship leader Finnegan Bailiff in the field. We have Connor Ferris, who's been really fast over the last couple of seasons, still looking for that elusive victory on the Kart Republic chassis. Finnegan Bailiff also on the Kart Republic chassis with Trinity Karting Group. But we do have a number of local drivers. I think that's kind of going to be the focus in a lot of these categories is how well the local drivers will. And I can see at least 10 different drivers in this field from the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, and looking at it and talking with a couple of friends of mine, we're probably going to see something very similar to those who are familiar with sports car racing. Whenever the world of GT3 goes to the Nürburgring, there's these certain drivers that are pretty much German Nürburgring only drivers that just dominate the ring. So a lot of us thinking that we're going to see the same here in KA 100 senior competition. Going through a couple of those, obviously not from Wisconsin. Terlecki doing double duty, heading into senior for this one. TJ Coyan making an appearance, like we said earlier on, making a appearance in the photo gallery that USPKS posted from their last visit back in 2013. Alex Feldstein should be quick. Tristan Farber. And then the dark horse for this weekend, at least in my opinion, Austin Jers, who won here at the Route 66 and Sprint Series for their 2023 visit and dominated the K100 senior class in what was a very, very competitive class. You have to think that Austin, even though he's not running a full season of karts this year, running a bit of Trans Am TA2, should be a contender for a podium and maybe a win come Sunday.
Yeah, Jers was the name I was looking at. A lot of locals that are going to be here, but as you said, been very limited in his kart racing this season. But anytime you go back to quote unquote your home racetrack, it comes back to like riding a bicycle, and that's what you have with Jers, probably with TJ Coyne as well too, who's been out of the seat for much of the season. Made a trek down to Charlotte earlier this year. So we'll see if he's if the local drivers are going to be able to defend their home turf. Very similar to what we saw Paulie Massimino do last month at the Trackhouse Motorplex. So other couple notable names. There was one that I just had Aiden Rudolph, another driver to watch for on the weekend. Keegan Kaminsky, who finished third at the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals provisionally until a quote unquote broken fairing took his result away. So he's been pretty quick at new racetracks here. So we'll see how well they do coming into to Wisconsin. Both Rudolph and Kaminsky never been here before. In fact, I think Aiden's dad, Alan, probably has a lot of racing laps here at the Dousman Raceway, or the Millwright Raceway here in Dousman. So that'll be pretty interesting. James Overback, a driver who's been very consistent across the board, still looking for that first big KA senior victory at a major event. So again, a lot of notable names in this category. Even Steven Eisert, another name I missed as well too. So for Sodi Racing USA. So it'd be interesting to see how this category is going to unfold, because it's going to be elbows out, put up your dukes, let's go to battle. And again, with it only being one final, Nate, it's going to be a build up till Sunday, and see just how aggressive some people will be early, or how fair people will play during the heat races, because again, it makes for a long weekend if you're out in the opening heat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how people manage their weekend throughout the races, and to see if the Midwest Wisconsin natives kind of have a advantage into qualifying the first day of racing, and if the rest of the field can catch back up to them quickly. Talking about Millwright Shootout as a little glimpse as to how this class is going to go. Ryan Persing and Nash Motorsports, the California native, taking the win there over Brandon Lemke, who calls this track home. So a bit of a surprise there. And then Quentin McPherson, your third place driver, who was on the podium for the B main at Speed Sports at USPKS. But again, like so many of these Wisconsin native drivers, are so quick at Millwright Raceway, taking the win in K100 junior competition when Route 66 went here last year. So like we said earlier, a lot of Wisconsin natives who have been kind of mid-pack or thereabouts should be thrust to the front of the grid this weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Persing take the victory. So he adapted really quick to this Millwright Raceway. So you got to expect a lot of the new people are going to be able to do that as well. So that's going to make for a very fun and competitive weekend. One thing, Nate, let's throw out as we wrap up this segment of K100 Senior. Do you think they're going to keep the heat races split up? If we do end up with, say, 40 drivers, Do you think they're going to split them up and keep with that format moving forward, or do you think they're going to put all 40 into 3 different heat races?
Yeah, I think the USPKS will most likely, as it is, probably just run them if we do have a fair amount of walk-ups like we talked about at the start of the show. And if a lot of those are K100 senior drivers, we might see that split. But it would be fun to see all 40 racing in all the heat races, not split.
And again, that will determine how aggressive people will be. If we do end up with all 40 in the heat races together. Certainly if you make a mistake, you're going to end up 40th and not 20th, which is a big blow to your weekend and trying to be there for the main event on Sunday. With that, we'll head into our next commercial break. And when we return, we'll get into X30 Junior, K100 Junior, and KA100 Masters.
In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry, and with over 30 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away. We continue to add to our growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, the ceramic product line, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, smoker performance sprockets, OTK products, AIM, MG tires, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. Be sure to stop by the Franklin trailer during the United States Pro Kart Series events as the official trackside vendor. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready for the 2022 season with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. CRG Nordam is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Houston, Texas, CRG Nordam supports CRG dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. The CRG KT5 is our new chassis for tag and shifter racing, and it's been designed specifically for the US market. The KT5 features 30mm construction with a 32mm front loop to increase front grip. CRG's new VEN 13 brake system is cutting-edge technology with a master cylinder that allows for pressure regulation within the system. Drivers can customize brake pressure to their own requirements to improve feel and to avoid brake lockup. The kart is finished with new KG 507, 508 bodywork that has refined aerodynamics and reduced weight. For cadet drivers, the 2022 CRG Black Mirror is already logging positive results to start the new season. This chassis will be making big waves in 2022. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. With 4-cycle racing enjoying consistent growth in North America, CRG's FS4 chassis is the ideal choice for racers in Briggs & Stratton competition. From pure racing to karting entertainment, many tracks, both indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the CRG Centurion rental kart line. 5 different models for both gas-powered or electric engines can fit any track's needs for a new rental kart fleet. CRG Nordam has a full inventory of rental karts available for new and existing facilities. For more information on the CRG product line, head to www.kartcrg.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrg-nordam.com.
Welcome back to the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast for the upcoming United States Pro Kart Series Wisconsin Grand Prix from the Millwright Raceway in Dowsman, Wisconsin. It is episode 74 on June 24th, 2024. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean, as we are bringing you this show presented by Margay Racing. We are into our second segment of our class previews, and we are up to the X30 Junior presented by Speed Concepts Racing. We got a total of 19 drivers set to compete this weekend in the division. We have some interesting news in this category where we see a lot of the same drivers that we've seen all season long racing against one another. We have all 5 drivers in the championship chase racing this weekend, including championship leader Diego Ardiles, who announced last weekend will be making the move over to Speed Concepts Racing aboard the OTK chassis for the Florida-based race team, leaving the Rollison Performance Group after racing with them for the last couple of years. So, Nate, that is really the big story in terms of junior racing right now. So, silly season is certainly underway.
Yeah, definitely something I didn't see coming when we broke that. But of course, that now makes it a Speed Concepts 1-2 in the point standings, with Jackson Wolney and a fairly solid year that he's been having for Speed Concepts, looking to maybe get on the top step of the podium a bit more. But like we said with the senior divisions, he's a Midwest driver who has a fair amount of experience at Millwright Raceway. So this could be a weekend where he gets on the top step of a major national podium.
Yep. So we have Ardiles, Wolney, Victor D'Alencar sitting third in the championship, Alexander Vanchev in fourth on Sodi Racing USA entry, and then Turner Brown sitting fifth in the championship. He is coming off what was a podium result at the FIA Karting Academy Trophy in Slovakia. So he left Ohio, flew to Slovakia, finished third there, now flying back to the United States and going right to Wisconsin to compete in the USPKS Wisconsin Grand Prix. And again, sitting fifth in the championship, a little bit of an up and down season for him, certainly across the board. And then in USPKS competition, I believe it was a disqualification in the main event on at Speed Sports that has his championship kind of hurting right now. Yeah, so it was a DQ there, a second place at Trackhouse, so putting him in fifth. But also at the Speed Sports event, we had Enzo Vidmontien, our winner from Trackhouse, had a DNS, did not start the main event. A mechanical issue pulled him off the racetrack as the warm-up lap began. And so you have him sitting back in the 8th spot with a victory in hand. So a lot of different things can happen, especially over 3 more rounds of racing where every session matters. So you have Ardiles moving to a new team. You have Wolney now picking up his first SCUSA victory. So he's making his momentum up. They're sitting 1-2. You have D'Alencar now essentially slotted into the 2nd spot at Rollison Performance Group behind Turner Brown, who is trying to come back from a disqualification. Vanchev now into what I believe will be his 4th event with Sodi Racing USA. So a lot of different things happening in this category. You still have Ty Fisher and Devin Roberts sitting 6th and 7th. Both of those drivers will be there as well, and they're progressing. They're getting better and better. Ty Fisher picking up a podium at the Supercards USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals. Devin Roberts doing well. I believe he was on the podium at the Rotax race this past weekend there in Ohio as well too. So there's a lot of successful drivers here in this junior field.
Yeah, absolutely. Ty Fisher and Devin Roberts have been 2 of the standout drivers, at least for me this season, who've put together some really solid performances, especially Ty, who just seems like he's always thereabouts when it comes to battling for the lead, but is just still trying to get on that top step for TB Kart and Race Lab. But I mean, going into this weekend, it seems like the past couple of years, the whole talking point in this class has been RPG versus Speed Concepts. And at least in my mind, for the first time in quite some time, it seems like the momentum has shifted to Speed Concepts with Ardiles moving over there, and the momentum that Wolney has had, and then likes of Sarah Bradley in the season she's been having. So should be an interesting race to watch in what is the new chapter in X30 Junior.
Certainly that. You got Chase Gassiat-Lee coming in as another driver on the rise. And then we have Braden Zervez, the local driver from Wisconsin. He's going to be making his X30 junior debut on the weekend, running double duty, also running in the K100 junior division, which we will now get into, which is presented by BBS Race Engines. They're going to be sitting at 43 entries coming in as of today. So again, we're looking forward to seeing some more walk-ups in the category. But the driver pacing this field, dating back to last year's finale, is Enzo Vidmontien, the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic driver, coming in now with 3 straight victories, including the opening 2 rounds in 2024. So Vidmontien holding the championship lead over 115 points over Sebastian Garzon for Orsalon Racing. Turner Brown sitting there in the 3rd spot, ahead of Diego Ardiles, making the move over to Speed Concepts Racing. So he'll be doing double duty with his new race team. And then you have Devin Roberts, who we just talked about in X30, sitting there in the 5th position. So all 5 drivers in the mix, making their going to be there in Dousman, along with Jackson Woolney, Ty Fisher, who are sitting 6th and 7th in the championship. Peyton Westcott is on the entry list, but I don't believe she will be making the event due to the injuries sustained at the Spring Nationals, where it was a broken wrist after contact with Vidmontien in Sunday's main event. So again, we send our best wishes to her. But Nate, it's essentially Vidmontien leading the way. And he's going to be the driver to beat. I think everybody's going to be wanting to knock him and his streak off this weekend.
Yeah, Vidmontien and Trinity Karting Group and Kart Republic have been very, very strong. And the Kart Republic chassis in general has just been very, very quick in KA100 senior and KA100 junior competition. Rather interestingly, Vidmontien, one of the front runners that did not decide to race the Millwright shootout. So maybe we might have a bit of more of an even playing field with a lot more drivers having a weekend of experience on what is a new track for most of these drivers under their belt. But with the skill level of Enzo and Trinity Karting Group, they should be up there and ready to fight come qualifying in the races.
Yeah, so to see Garzon win the shootout this weekend, that's going to be big for him. That's going to help him into the championship chase, getting that momentum, and again, going to a new facility for the Florida driver, Sebastian Garzon. Yeah, and some again, local drivers are going to be in the mix. Benham Abernathy for Holtz Driver Development. He's a local driver. You have, again, Zervez, Brady Shad, and Brandon Siraki, those drivers. A lot of racing laps, a lot of practice laps at this facility. So this could be kind of breakout a weekend for those drivers who call Wisconsin home and call Badger Raceway or Millwright Raceway, the home of Badger Kart Club, their home racetrack. But again, with 43 drivers, again, anything can happen. We talked already about the top 10 essentially drivers who are in the championship chase that will be coming into the weekend. Vidmontien trying to continue that win streak. A lot of the championship drivers trying to make up ground on him. So there's a lot of different storylines coming into this weekend. You got GFC drivers making their debut. You got Luca Popescu. You have Matt. Where is his name? Matt Cagle. Where's the other GFC driver I'm talking about? I thought there was a couple more. Is there just the 2? Just the 2.
I'm only seeing 2. Yeah.
Right. Yep, 2. Okay. So yeah, those again, a lot of different storylines coming into the weekend. Anything else, Nate, that I'm missing?
Yeah, I mean, going off of what you said is continue to talk about the Wisconsin drivers. A lot of the Wisconsin and Midwestern natives that know this track so well have kind of been in the mid pack this season. And we always talk about once you get your first podium or your first national win, that really does help your confidence. So we might be seeing that for a driver or two this weekend. And like you said, Brady Shad, who third place in the Millwright shootout for him, battling with Michael McGoy, who came second. Alexander Vanchev, Diego Ardila is running out that top 5 there. But if you had to pick a Wisconsin native or a Midwest native, it would have to be the Millwright Racing 865 of Brady Shad going into the weekend.
So yeah, a lot of different storylines, a lot of different contenders in this division. Now let's head into our K100 Masters presented by Nash Motorsports, where we will have 11 drivers competing this weekend. So a little bit of a bump up there, but none of the former winners on the season going to be in the field. Adam Kreppen going to be working as assistant race director. And then Max Pappas making his one-off at Trackhouse to defend the home turf there. So that essentially puts the Wisconsin driver, again, we keep talking about Wisconsin, Nicky Coelho, sitting on top of the championship chase ahead of Martin Stone by 10 points, with Laurentiu Mardan, the Illinois driver who loves this Millwright Raceway facility and was a winner at the 2013 event back 12 years ago, or 11 years ago, essentially. So they are the top 3 drivers in the championship chase. Both Scott Carapoletti and Kim Carapoletti not on the entry list, but their absence is made up with the return of former series champion Scott Kopp, former series champion Christian Vomier, and then another Wisconsin driver in TJ Nevels making his return to the series. So there's a lot of drivers, Nate, in this field that have a lot of laps at this racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And Masters in the past couple of races for USPKS has always had a large Midwest contingent. So now that's bringing the home court advantage to those drivers quite literally. Looking at Nicky Coelho, obviously championship leader. He's going to be at least the one to watch for me. Keep talking about Route 66's visit last time to Millwright Raceway. But of course, with USPKS not being here since 2013, you have to go off these regional series to get a gauge at how quick these drivers are around here. Coelho actually ran KA Senior at Route last year and qualified on the second row against some really, really competitive drivers. So you have to think Nicky Coelho is definitely going to be one of those drivers to beat heading into the weekend.
Yeah, we'll see the return of Miguel Mir, who was unable to make the Trackhouse due to a family graduation. So he'll be back, looking to get back on the podium as well for the driver who I believe lives in Texas still. I'm not sure if he moved to Florida or not, but has a lot of championships and wins in the state of Texas. So, and we don't have him on the entry list, Mario Barrios, but we do know he was at the shootout this past weekend. So we hope to see him as a walk-up in his first start in the 2024 season after an injury in Orlando that has taken him out of the season for much since the month of March. So hopefully we'll see him on the entry list and maybe a few more. Again, there's that Tag Masters program that takes place in the state of Wisconsin. So maybe we'll get a few more walk-ups now that they'll be able to see the big names that'll be racing here this weekend. So with that, let's head into our final commercial break. And when we return, we'll get into Mini Swift and Micro Swift.
There's a new hot button name in American safety equipment, Stilo USA. Every product with Stilo is focused on safety, comfort, and function. Stilo USA is happy to provide you with the proper safety apparel to keep you protected on the track, and their karting lineup is second to none. The ST5 KRT karting helmet is available for $599. Manufactured using a lightweight and extremely strong composite material, the KRT provides an excellent fit and comfort level due to its dual density interior foam lining, and it's equipped with a symmetrical visor that offers excellent vision and an effortless central visor locking system. The ST5 CMR standard was developed jointly by the FIA Institute and Snell Memorial Foundation to ensure safer and lighter weight helmets for the younger karters. Drivers rave about the superior comfort levels, lightweight construction, and the unparalleled field of vision. The perfect youth helmet is available for $549. Stilo didn't stop with their helmets either. The newly developed Carbon Curva Rib Protector is unlike any on the market, with its form-fitting solution to offer superior protection. Head to stilohelmets.com to review these and many more products to keep you safe on the track. Stilo, any competition, one helmet. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find the North American dealer near you, head to BriggsRacing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you?
Welcome back to our final segment of the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast for the upcoming United States Pro Kart Series, Wisconsin Grand Prix. I am David Cole, joined by Nate Dean, bringing you this show presented by Margay Racing. We are now into our final two categories that we are previewing. First up is Mini Swift, presented by Sodi Racing USA. 32 entries set to battle this weekend. We have two of our former winners in the field, including Ashton Woon, the winner in Speed Sports, and Parker Ives, the winner at Trackhouse. Both drivers are in the championship chase. Ashton Woon sitting first in the standings ahead of Royce Vega by 107 points, with Parker Ives sitting there in third, 116 points back in the third position. Nico Orbezo sitting fourth, and then Marco Samet sitting there in the fifth spot in the championship chase. So all five drivers in the championship coming into the weekend going to be there in Dousman. Certainly makes for a interesting battle. Coming in with Woon holding a pretty sizable advantage, but still 3 rounds of racing left to go. Nate, what are some of the notable names that you're kind of looking at when we look at this field?
Yeah, I mean, it's always obviously a very, very strong field with Jacob Majeski taking the win in the shootout for the Mini Swift. A bit of an interesting note. Jacob's not had the best of seasons for him at Speed Sports, finishing 24th, at Trackhouse 22nd. So for him to really, really compete against the likes of Zane Burgess, Cameron Johnson, Royce Vega, Grayson Walcott, Parker Ives, and those drivers to get a win there at Millwright is going to be a huge boost for him in Franklin Motorsports.
Yeah, that's we'll see if that's going to carry the momentum into this weekend to be able to shine on the big stage when USPKS comes. So championship contenders, you have local drivers looking to make a name for themselves with this weekend, but a lot of drivers from outside the state of Wisconsin, because I believe only 2 that I count from the state of Wisconsin. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, how well a lot of these drivers from outside the cheese state, the Badger state, do this weekend. So again, Mini Swift presented by Sodi Racing USA. Let's get into now Micro Swift presented by Team Ferris Racing. We have 32 entries as well in this category. And just like Mini Swift, both winners on the season, Miguel Suarez and Zane Burgess, are going to be in the mix this weekend. It is, however, Santiago Orlioli leading the championship over those 2 race winners. Suarez sitting second, but back by 43 points, with Burgess sitting in third, 91 points back. You have Win Gottschalk sitting there in the 4th spot, and Easton Kubinski sitting in the 5th position in this championship chase. So You did mention his name, Nate. Burgess ran the mini Swift division for the Millwright Shootout and ended up finishing second in the category. So Burgess getting very accustomed to the Millwright Raceway.
Yeah, really, really strong result from Burgess being a micro driver, running up against some kids who are probably a year or two away from going into junior competition. So really, really impressive from him and Sodi Racing USA. But obviously, like you said, Santi Orioli up at the front of the championship. He's been playing catch up since the first race at Speed Sports after a mechanical DNF. He's been trying to work his way back up, but he's been the driver who's been the most consistent, even though he doesn't have a win with Suarez and Burgess. Like you said, taking top honors in the class so far. Orioli has just been smooth and consistent and just been always there. And that's obviously led to him being at top of the table in the championship. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what he can do if he can potentially get that first win of the PCAS season. But another driver that you said in the top 5, Easton Kabinski, who has really, really stepped up in Swift competition this season, whether it be obviously a PCAS SCUSA or the Stars Championship Series. He's been one to look out for at the front of the field. So it'll be interesting to see what those two can do. And obviously the whole field of incredibly talented micro Swift drivers.
Yeah, incredibly talented drivers. Cameron Johnson being one of them, a Wisconsin driver out of Milwaukee. He's going to have home turf momentum coming into this weekend. So maybe being able to get that another podium finish in USPKS competition coming off a top 5 at Trackhouse. Leo Simone, another driver picking up pace in the Micro Swift division as well too, for Trinity Karting Group. So Merlin Nation, Trinity Karting Group. I'm looking at other one, Lawrence Perriman, who nearly picked up a victory at the Spring Nationals for Brandon Jarscrack Racing. Holt will see if he can shake that last lap issue off and be able to be competitive this weekend as well too. So a number of different names. And again, we're still learning some more as the season goes along. But yeah, certainly we've kind of got the drivers who kind of put themselves at the front of the field week in, week out. Orioli, Suarez, Burgess, Gottschalk, Kubinski sitting there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the championship. So with that, we'll wrap up our show. Again, be sure to follow EKN during the 2024 United States Pro Kart Series Wisconsin Grand Prix. Again, from the Millwright Raceway. Follow us on our social media platforms for updates all weekend long. Again, hashtags will include EKN at USPKS, hashtag USPKS, hashtag Wisconsin GP, and hashtag Millwright Raceway all weekend long. Make sure you listen online at ekartingnews.com/live page, or go to ekartingnews.com/radio. Or if you do have our EKN Radio Network app, which you could be listening to this show right now on, we will be streaming the live audio all weekend long from the Millwright Raceway in Dousman, Wisconsin. Nate, let's wrap up our show. Any final words on the upcoming weekend in Dousman, Wisconsin?
Yeah, obviously, for me, really looking forward to it. It's a track that I've been going to since I really started racing 10 or so years ago. So to see some of the best drivers in the nation do battle on it, and obviously seeing all the massive team tents and haulers coming into a track that a lot of us in the Midwest really, really adore. It should be a fun weekend for round 3 of PKS.
Yeah, I want to say this is going to be my 3rd trip there. I know I was there for USPKS back in 2013. I did a WK race, at least one, when the extension was first done, I think back in 2017. So very looking forward to going back. I haven't done laps there, Nate. You probably got some laps there, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a fair few, and none with the old layout, but all of which with the new extension. It's a really fun track. Haven't been on there since the repave, but my girlfriend Betsy has, and she really enjoyed that when she ran Cup Karts North America competition last year.
Yeah, so like you, I'm looking forward to getting there. It'll be a quick 6-hour drive around Lake Michigan to get there. Hopefully the Chicago traffic will not be terrible, and I'll be able to get there in a decent amount of time. So again, great show. Looking forward to being there, covering the 3rd event of the United States Pro Kart Series for 2024. So with that, we'll wrap up this show. For Nate Dean, I am David Cole. Thank you for listening.